What is up, guys? I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving weekend. I know that I did. I ate a whole bunch of food. I actually ended up smoking a brisket and a pork butt, and man, I stuffed myself. Man, it was so much fun. Actually, smoking is one of the hobbies that I've really been trying to get into. I really enjoy it. If you guys remember, a few years back, I actually built my own smoker. I don't think I did an actual like build series on me building the smoker, but I think that I showed it on the channel. It hasn't been getting as much use as I wish it would, but we did, like I said, use it this weekend for Thanksgiving. And man, I really gotta start doing more smoking because man, it's delicious. I freaking love it. But anyways, I want to get into today's video, but before we do that, by the time you see this video on Monday, Cyber Monday, we only have a few hours left on our sale. So go ahead, jump to the website, get your axle swap kits, get your bumper conversion brackets, all that stuff. It's on sale right now for a few more hours and then it's gone. So don't miss out. Okay guys, so let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into this video. I bought a new truck. I guess the best way to describe this thing is that it's pretty unique. At least you don't see very many of these, and I've been looking for one for a while. So let me show you real quick what it is. And I'm not gonna show you everything about it. The coolest part, we're gonna hold it out for a little bit because I want to show you what I bought and why I bought it. So what I got is a brick nose with a mason dump, and then this thing is actually an F Super Duty. So you know, it's the heavier F450 version of these trucks. Now you might be thinking, are you going into landscape? I mean, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that, but no. The reason why we got this thing is because obviously since we manufacture our own parts, we get a lot of scrap like this you see right here. It's always a pain having to load it up onto, you know, one of the trucks and then having to go and unload it. So what we ended up doing is that we actually get a guy to come and load it into his dump trailer, and then he goes, you know, and dumps it. But then we end up out on a lot of money, which brings me to my justification for buying a dump truck. Way we can just load it onto the back of the dump. We go to our local junkyard and, you know, just dump it out there and then, you know, come back home like it's not that big of a deal anymore. I mean, it's just so freaking cool. Like, who doesn't like a dump truck? Now, this thing is a proper mason dump. I believe that's what these bodies are called. It just has these stupid sides, which we're going to be removing because I like the nice low profile look without them. So those are going to be going away. We are going to be replacing them with like a you know, 2x6 or something like that, like a board, because I think that looks really cool. I mean, it has a lot of miles. It's got a lot of use, but it's pretty nice overall. It drives pretty good. I mean, it does have a slight vibration like at 55, but I haven't driven it all that much. Let me show you the actual cool part about this thing and why I bought this, because if I'm honest with you guys, I've never been a fan of... Actually, I want to ask a question. I want to clarify something and see what you guys think. To me, OPS are only the 90s trucks, right? The 92 through 97 arrow nose trucks. To me, that's what the OBS is, but technically these are OBS too, and so are the bullnose trucks. But in my mind, and I know most people, when they hear OBS, they go straight to this, and then this is obviously your brick nose. I want to ask and see what you guys think. Do you consider all of these OBS trucks or just these? Because either way, I don't think we're wrong, but I think specifically that front is an OBS, this is a brick nose. But anyways, let me show you what's really cool about this truck. This thing was already Cummins swapped. So it's got a 12L Cummins with the VE pump, unfortunately. And it's got a CF5 5-speed transmission. So, I mean, this thing is what you would call your apocalypse vehicle. Again, I'm super excited. I mean, who doesn't like a Cummins, right? These things are pretty freaking cool and way better than pretty much any other engine that this thing would have come with. So I thought it was pretty unique, pretty cool. As soon as this thing came out for sale, I messaged the guy. I was actually the first one to go and take a look at it, but he was asking a little bit more than I thought this thing was worth. So I passed on it. The truck, you know, didn't sell for a couple of weeks. So I went ahead and sent the guy an offer right at about where I thought this thing, you know, was a fair price for it. And he actually went for it. So now we own a 12 valve, which, I mean, freaking awesome. Well, we own a dump truck, 12 valve Cummins dump truck. I do want to take it inside the shop and kind of give it a good once over. There are a couple of things that I want to address. Like for one, we don't have well, pretty much most of our gauges actually don't work. So I gotta figure that out. One of the only gauges that does sort of work is the oil pressure gauge, and it's not showing a lot of oil pressure. Now, I do know that these gauges, I mean, they're dummy gauges, so they don't really tell you the truth. So I have a mechanical gauge that I bought for the 460 that we're gonna use to test oil pressure on this thing and see what it's actually at. We're gonna see if we can get any of the gauges working, specifically like the RPM gauge, just because I feel that this thing starts defueling kind of early, but it also, I mean, it does have probably like a 488 rear gear, so it might get to the higher RPMs quite quick. But anyways, let's go ahead, pull this thing into the shop and give it a good once over. Check out how easy this thing cranks over. So we just crank the key over a little bit, and this thing is nice and modern. It's got push button start. Man, it's that easy. But like I said, we have no RPM gauge, we have no speedo gauge, no speed gauge, speedo. Our oil pressure gauge shows low, but I'm pretty sure that's fine. Like I said, these things are just dummy gauges. Same with like our alternator, it's showing pretty low. So we're gonna test that too. Go ahead and pull it into the garage, to the shop. And I mean, this thing is obviously super bare bones. I mean, crank windows. I don't think it ever came with the radio, honestly, because I don't see any speakers or nothing. So it's definitely a work truck. Okay guys, so we've got this Bosch mechanical oil pressure gauge hooked up to the oil filter housing. You've got a port right up there, super convenient for stuff like this. So we've got it hooked up. This is mechanical, so all you gotta do is just hook up that line. But let's go ahead, fire it up and see where it's at. I love the way a 12 valve just fires up. That's so satisfying. I mean, I'd say that's pretty good. That's almost 60. It's not low, that's for sure. Okay, cool. So now that we see that it does have pretty good oil pressure, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I don't want it permanently on there. I just wanted to test and make sure that it did have good oil pressure. So we're good in that department. So now that we know that we have good oil pressure, which I mean, I didn't doubt the good old Cummins. I know that, it's probably gonna be fine. The next problem that I wanna address is the fact that we have no tach, which I also think that's gonna be a super easy thing to solve. I believe that it is this cable behind the alternator not being plugged into anything. That's causing our problem. So now this truck, like I showed you in the beginning, has two tachs. So we have this pretty cool aftermarket one, and then we have the original one. Now on these older trucks, I don't know how it works, if it's mechanical or electrical, the sensor or whatever. But what I do know is that on these 12 valve swaps, they use a signal off of the alternator to get tach. So we have this cable missing right here. Actually, let me get some light under this. Okay, so we've got some light. I got this light pole thing under the hood. Light pole from Harbor Freight, and then some Harbor Freight lights. I freaking love it. So anyways, so we have this cable that comes behind the alternator, and then right next to it, we have this other cable that looks like it will very conveniently just go right there, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, plug that in, and see if we get any tach signal from it. And then if it does, we'll obviously come and do a proper connection job. But for now, I think we can just slip it in there and test it out. So let's see if either one of these gauges works now. Yeah, check it out. Sounds so good. Also, I was looking at this thing. Is that an exhaust brake right there? I feel like it is. I'm gonna look into it and see what it is, but it looks to me like an exhaust brake, because I know that some of these came with a whatchamacallit. I forget what they're called, because the OBS trucks don't have it on the exhaust, but I mean, this one doesn't have it either. I'll think about it later. Okay, so this should be a pretty easy fix. We're just gonna take off all of this old stuff that they had on here, and what I'm gonna use to fix it is this pretty cool new product to me that I've been using for the last couple of electrical jobs that I've done. But it's basically a cheat code to doing wiring like this. Now what we're gonna use to fix this is these solder seal wire connectors Haisstronica sent to us to test out. Now these things are pretty cool because all you gotta do, as you can see, it has solder already built into this shrink tubing that actually seals the connection really well. And all you gotta do is just slip this over the connection that you're trying to do all the way through, and then you go ahead and kind of twist these two ends together the best that you can. It's going to be a little bit hard for me because these things, both ends, are already done. But we're going to do kind of the best job that we can and just kind of twist them together. Now we're going to slide this back over it, kind of centering that little solder as best as we can between the two. So now as you can see, we have our heat gun, maybe see, on it. Okay guys, sorry, my camera, my phone died as I was recording that. So I want to show you another little test piece of how these things work because they're slowly becoming one of my favorite tools for wiring. So we're gonna go ahead. I already have this little test piece that I stripped. We kind of just twisted together right there. And that's all you gotta do. I'll leave a link to this down below in my description, but it comes with a few different sizes. For this particular one that we're doing, this should be the right size. Now, again, if you can see, I wanna show you this. That little gray strip in the middle is solder. So it's, I believe it's called like low temp solder or something like that. So that's gonna melt and join your two cables together. And then on top of that, it's got heat shrink tubing that's also insulated. So it's gonna make a really nice seal on your cable and really secure it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start warming up my heat gun. I have this attachment that makes doing this a lot easier. Okay, so now once you have your heat gun going, all you gotta do is just start shrinking that tube around it. That's it. So I don't know how well you can see that, but that is all nice. The solder is nice and melted, and it has joined these two cables together really nice, making a really nice connection. So we're gonna give this thing a couple minutes to solidify, and then we'll give it a nice tug and see what it can take. Okay guys, so I gave this thing a few minutes to cool down, and it's nice and solid now. So let's pull on it and see what we can do. Actually, I'm gonna get some pliers to get a nice good grip on it. So, well, I mean, it takes more than the actual wire. As you can see, we broke this behind the connection, and then let me test it again, because I mean, that didn't take much to break the wire. That's crazy. Let's do it right here. So yeah, your wire is gonna fail way before that connection does. That was actually crazy. I might have to test that again, because maybe with a bigger gauge wire, because this stuff broke way too easily, like almost like if it was damaged or something. So we'll do that test again, because it didn't take anything to break that wire. Let me see, like on this other end. Yeah, I guess that's pretty normal. But again, a super easy way to solder your connections. Again, you guys already know by now that I hate wiring, but stuff like this makes it way easier. So we'll leave a link to this down below if you guys want to check it out. But now let's jump back into this thing. So we know that we have great oil pressure. We have an RPM now, our tach working. The other thing that I want to check out is my speedo, see why that's not working. So with these things, I'm pretty sure that the sensor for them was actually off of the transmission. So I'm gonna go ahead, roll under this and see if we can see anything wrong with it. Okay, so I think with these trucks, it's a mechanical speedo that they have. I think it's this cable right here that controls it, which is going into the parking brake right there. So what I did is it was unplugged, so I shoved it back in there, and I guess let's test and see if that does anything. It doesn't feel like it wants to come back out, so I think it's in there. Also, like any good 12 valve, this thing is leaking from every orifice. I actually just realized that it's leaking diesel from the injection pump, so we're going to figure that out one day too. Not today though. Oh, you guys check it out. We have a working speedometer now, so heck yeah. Now another thing that I do want to do is remove this muffler, because obviously we have a 12 valve Cummins that deserves to be straight piped, but unfortunately I don't have enough pipe to replace this, and I really don't want to have it any shorter than it is right now. I mean, maybe. That's something that I don't want to tackle today. But we are going to be straight piping this thing because that's the proper thing you're supposed to do with the Cummins or any diesel, in my opinion. Okay, guys, so we've got one of our sides removed and it looks 1,000 times better. This is the way that a mason dump is supposed to look. Again, the only thing we're missing is just that little board right there. But man, it looks so much better. So I'm going to go ahead, remove the other one, and we'll go ahead and take this thing for a drive. Okay, guys, and now the part that I know y'all are waiting for. Let's go ahead and engage that PTO and use that dump. There we go. Man, this thing is freaking, it's way bigger in person, but it's freaking cool. Our own little freaking dump truck. And by the way, so it's all PTO driven, so it's not hydraulic or anything like that, which I don't know what's better, PTO or sorry, electric. But I mean, this thing works really good and it dumps really fast, in my opinion. And there it is, guys. This thing looks so much better now without those sides that were on it. I definitely like this look way better. Now, a few things that I want to do with this thing is, I mean, not much, honestly. We got to make our money back hauling our scraps. But a few things that I do know that I want to add is one, a backup camera from Wolfbox, because I really need a rear view mirror. I can't drive without seeing what's behind me. It is super hard to see around this thing, even with those tow mirrors that these things came with. It's still pretty hard. So I think I'm gonna see if I can get a Wolfbox rear view mirror and put the camera like somewhere over here, something like that. Want to do that. Another thing that I think I really want to do, and I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon, but I really would like to swap an OBS or Aero nose front end onto this thing because I just think it looks way better than the brick nose. And then, yeah, it's probably gonna get axle swap too because, I mean, might as well. The only thing that I'm not sure on what I want to do is if I want to go F350 or if I want to go F450. And that's because I think this thing's geared like at 488 probably. That's usually what these things came with. And it is definitely way too low. And if I stick with the F450 axle, it's more than likely going to be 488. If I can find a 410, then we'll probably do that. But if not, I'll probably try and find some F350 axles and swap that in. And it's probably still gonna just keep the leaves that it already has and all that in the back. It currently doesn't have any shocks, so we should probably take care of that. And then, I mean, it'd be super cool swapping a P-pump into this thing. That'd be pretty sweet. So, but again, that's gonna be down the line. Another thing that I really want to do too is fix up this side. I mean, I feel like they probably used to load from this side and they didn't care about it, so they banged up all on the side pretty bad. So I would really like to be able to fix this side. I'm just not really sure how I would go about doing that. And then painting this thing black again, giving it a nice fresh coat of black paint, some new chains. You know, same with this side too. It's not as bad as the other side, but it's pretty banged up too. I think maybe just doing a fresh coat of paint might probably do a lot for it. So we might do that. I would also like to paint the front of the truck, do it all black. That would look pretty sweet. I don't know, guys. I'm just really excited about this thing. It's freaking awesome. What kid doesn't want to have a dump truck? Here I am with my little mini dump truck. Also, the I guess tailgates on these things are pretty cool. So they open both ways. You can have it to where it opens like a tailgate, which is probably what I'm gonna be doing most of the time. If you pull this lever, that disengages these hooks, and then you kind of, I guess, spread with it. I think that's what these other stops are too. That way you can control how much comes out of it. Okay, it's getting a little too windy out there. But I mean, we're like 90% of what we're gonna do with it is just dumping our old scrap. So I think we're just gonna lower that tailgate and dump everything out. And obviously, whenever we go to the to do our first jump, I'll take you guys with me, show you that thing in action. And yeah, huge thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys think that dump truck is as cool as I think it is, because I mean, I freaking love it. I'm super excited to have it. Leave a like, leave any comments that you might have down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.